If you go on and ask for the energy option for the 21st century, what we did, you come first to fossil fuel. We made an assessment, of course, for the time being. This is the main energy sources in the world, without any doubt. I'm very often in China. I have a chair at the university in Shanghai. And you know that fossil fuels, especially coal, is one of the main energy bases for this huge country, and we will have to single out other options. It was mentioned this morning, Rouhani mentioned it and others, that we should go on in clean coal research, what we are doing, not only with regard to CCS. Our main interest is in CCU, in carbon capture and use. How to close the carbon cycle is our main question in our institute, mainly under the responsibility, in this case, of Carlo Rubbia, a Nobel Prize laureate for physics, who is asking, can we make CO2 an asset and not a liability? So we are not singling out, but we try to increase the environmental possibilities of fossil fuels as well. We are not so very convinced that carbon capture and storage is a solution. It is only handling this as waste. And wherever we handle something as waste, we are not on the sustainability track. If you go to nuclear, I only want to give you two quotes from The Economist. And you know The Economist is not the official paper of Greenpeace or others. The Economist. 26 years ago, they mentioned to get plenty of nuclear plants built and then to accumulate year after year a record of new deaths, no serious accidents, and no dispute that the result is cheaper energy. So it was the vision, that is the perspective. And only in this year, 26 years later, they've mentioned in liberalized energy markets, building nuclear power plants is no longer a commercially feasible option. They are simply too expensive. But nuclear energy, which has received large subsidies in the past, has not displaced much in the way of fossil fuels either. And nuclear is getting more expensive, whereas renewables are getting cheaper. This was the main basis for our final decision as well. So it is not environmentally able to succeed in an open society, and we are very concerned that the economic basis is very weak as well. I only want to quote this, you can have others. And we learned another topic, again, not only for the energy market, but for all the crises. It is a quote of the Nobel Prize laureate on economics of Joseph Stiglitz. He mentioned, when others bear the cost of mistakes, the incentives favor self-delusion. A system that socializes losses and privatizes gains is doomed to mismanage risk. And that's indeed true. We see it again and again. If you differentiate between liability and risk, you underestimate the risk. And we believe that this must be changed, otherwise you cannot have the backing of the population at home. Having this as a basis, we want to give some answers as well to the challenge, a contribution to sustainable energy for all, you know, that is asked by Ban Ki-moon by 2030. And do we have there also a contribution as a backbone towards a green economy? What is the situation? We try to make it a topic of the whole society, not only of some parts of the society. That was done already in Germany in 2001. There was a decision by the then government to go out nuclear until the middle of the next century, 2025. But it was a partisan decision. It was only linked with the ruling parties, and the other were against. And we saw in this very moment you don't invest in alternatives. And so our main interest right now was, can we come with a unified topic that the whole parliament is voting for such a change? And it was possible to do this, so nearly 85% voted for the change. The others who said no were not voting for it because they want to stay longer in nuclear, but they were convinced that we can do it faster than only in 2022. If you see this, we also gave this as a society option. Every decision of the use of nuclear energy is shut down, and its replacement with alternative forms of generating energy is based on society's value judgment, which precedes technical and economic aspects. If you go the other way around, you will have always a huge challenge for the acceptance of this policy in the broader public. And of course, we want not to single out the problems of the long-term consequences. First decision, we have to do a lot with regard to energy efficiency. And we are, with those official prognoses, official from our Ministry for the Environment, that we have a decrease in the final use of energy, linked with a huge increase of energy efficiency. A hard decision without any doubt, but one of the bases for our further activities at all, mainly linked, as mentioned this morning, with private houses, with better insulation, with better energy efficiency in industry and in others. And you see our development in renewable energies is quite remarkable. As mentioned, we started already after Chernobyl with doing this. We invested a lot of money in science and technology, specifically on renewable energies, sun, wind, and biomass. We did not invest, unluckily, in geothermal. And I look forward that this is the main challenge for Japan. And I would be extremely happy if we could make this a common endeavor, because geothermal, without any doubt, will have a huge influence in the future energy supply. You see our geothermal only as a little 0.01 at the top of this curve. And you see that mainly wind and more also solar is contributing to our electricity production. And you know that we are already now well over 20% of renewable energy for our electricity supply. And this is really going on. I don't want to make prognoses, because prognosis in this field can be destroyed already tomorrow, but this is facts. That is not prognosis. And you see especially the huge increase of solar. And of course, it gives you a lot of problems. I cannot avoid to mention this, but also some challenges, some advantages. You see, this was our electricity price on the 16th July in this last year. And you see that in this day, in the daytime, we had sunshine, and that had the consequence that the price for electricity went down drastically on this time. Otherwise, we have there a peak in our prices in daytime because there's the highest demand. And you can see easily that this is now blocked down. That is not only one day. In Germany, there are quite a lot. I have even to confess or to inform you that already in the last year, we had in Germany 4 days where we had a negative price for electricity. There was a lot of wind, and there was no high demand for electricity, so we had to produce more as we could use. And so you had to pay money that somebody took the electricity to handle it. A very good business, by the way, for our neighbors in the south, for Switzerland and Austria, because they have wonderful water pumping storage stations. So they had the money, and then they sent the electricity back to a high price. Quite a huge discussion in our society, as you may imagine.